They are giant mammals that live in the ocean but must have air to breathe. They can consume over 5,000 gallons of air per minute and can weigh up to 300,000 pounds. Their tongues alone can weigh as much as an elephant. And when they swim on the surface, they can generate the power of 3 muscle cars. They are whales, the giants of the deep.
It's the biggest animal that was ever created, as far as we know. We don't have any fossils of any dinosaurs that are bigger than the biggest blue whales. 100 feet long, 300,000 pounds. The tongue can weigh as much as an elephant. You might have 22 tons of blubber. I mean, we're talking tons, not pounds.
But whales are not only massive in size, they are complex in their design.
The humpback whale, which is the one with the big fins, those fins are like the ears on the elephants. Those fins act as air conditioners because the humpback is in shallow water, which is warmer, and then in deeper water, and it's going back and forth a lot. And so it has huge changes in temperature on its outside of its body. And so these flippers, they have all kinds of little blood vessels close to the surface, and the whale can use those to help cool itself down or to help warm itself up. And these whales, they will dive down, and then they blow bubbles through their blowhole. They'll start with a big ring of bubbles, and somehow or another, it acts like a net to these krill, and they run away from the bubbles. And so they keep running toward the middle here, and then they'll close the ring. They'll be swimming in tighter and tighter circles, and he gets everything trapped in nothing but bubbles. And then he swims right up through the middle, from the underneath, opens up its big mouth, and it can grab a ton of the krill all at one time. And it's like an expert fisherman. It's incredible. Well, if evolution is true, how do these animals figure this out? Sperm whales dive really deep dives, 550 feet a minute. Let's say it's a 70-foot whale. You get an increase of 1 atmosphere about every 12 feet or so. And if he's 70 feet long, he might have 3 or 4 or 5 different amounts of atmosphere, of pressure on different parts of its body. And you would think that might just collapse the whale. But God built the whale so that it has different amounts of pressure on its blood vessels, and it has this powerful heart, which can weigh up to a ton, pumping this blood out through all these arteries and veins. And they can close off certain parts of their circulatory system so that maybe they need a little more inside pressure down here if they're diving straight down. They can more or less direct the pressure inside their body more down here. And when they're on the bottom feeding, they can almost shut everything down except their tail and their brain and their heart, so they can eat and they don't burn a lot of energy while they're down there. Now, the sperm whale like to eat squid, giant squid, that are 40 feet long. And there are huge battles because many sperm whales, their skin is all scarred from the hooks on the squid.
Whales are highly social and have a sophisticated communication device that can enable them to communicate over hundreds of miles.
They send out a sound wave, they'll locate large pods of prey, pools or schools of prey, and then they can home in on them and find them. It's actually what we designed a lot of our early sonar off of.
Evolution teaches that whales are really a land mammal that decided to go back into the ocean. God made whales so that when they breathe through their blowhole, they do not have any connection to their mouth. Now, we have a connection between mammals, have connections between the nose and the mouth. You can get a nose full of water and it can come down in your mouth. You can get stuff in your mouth, and as little kids, it's always coming out the nose. With a whale, how are they going to eat? They're going to have to open their mouth, and sometimes under large amounts of pressure, fill up their mouth to eat, so their mouth and their nose aren't hooked up. How do you have a slowly evolving something into something else where you can't have a partially unhooked up system? It's either totally unhooked up so that you can't drown, or it's not. And so I don't see any evidence that land mammals have migrated into the ocean and become whales and porpoises and dolphins and all those kinds of things. I don't think we have any evidence for that.